of somebody who sat on the bench would probably, as you're reading all this, but it is all reading. I mean, it is reading. Reading and reading. I mean, it's just like reading a book about the story that happened, but through the eye of the argument, so to speak, as you say.
That's right.
It's an interesting job, though, isn't it?
It's a fascinating job, and if you are a learner, you're always learning.
But when you look at these cases, Judge, when they come to you from the 4 counties on appeals, do they come from all of the courts? I mean, you know, you could look at a murder trial as well as a well, I don't know, a minor theft, as if you would have when you were sitting on the...
Yes. Yes, yeah. It is really virtually any kind of issue. It could be a zoning issue, it could be a juvenile court issue, a permanent custody case, a divorce issue, anything except for capital cases, which a death penalty case would just get directly appealed to the Ohio Supreme Court. But short of that, it is from all the courts in all of these counties, covering any legal subject. So that's what when I say you're learning all the time.
I think so.
And you're looking at so many issues, and they are often, notwithstanding the fact that it might involve the same area of the law, there might be a twist to it.
Sure.
So you're looking at some different aspect of that area of the law. And so you're just, you're always learning. There's always something new.
And the people that bring these to you are litigants, if you will. Everybody, from the lawyer to the witness you're reading about to the person who's appealing. These 4 counties, I mean, there's a lot of people here, and it's not maybe as spread out as where I mentioned in the Northwest. But there's quite a difference between the urban population of Akron and maybe Wayne County.
Yes.
And there might have been something homogeneous about your day-to-day activity in Muni Court, where this thing is going to, you could be reading about cows and chickens one day and polymer the next day, right?
Exactly. And we do. And you often see cases that have perhaps an agricultural issue coming more often out of Wayne County.
Wayne, yeah, absolutely.
Than you might see out of Summit County.
Well, I practice over there periodically. I go over to Wayne for my practice. I practice primarily out of Medina. But I mean, yeah, we see a difference. I mean, there's maybe a little more laid-back atmosphere and whatnot, but the law is the law. That's pretty interesting, though.
It's fascinating.
And so maybe your life is more structured as an appellate judge because, well, it's not hitting you from every different direction as maybe it did on a Monday morning where there was a sweep on a Sunday night.
Right.
On the other hand, though, I mean, homogeneous is the word I seem to have fallen onto, but I mean, there is some similarity to what you saw coming through Muni Court from week to week to week, but you could be having a case, as again, talking about eggs and chickens and whatnot, and then talking about some very high-tech case that came out of the University of Akron that dealt with polymer. So that's a pretty diversified job.
It is. It is a wide variety.
So your Muni Court judge obviously does have, and it's you actually don't have to. I mean, you could run for the Court of Appeals without having served as a judge before. Is that correct? Correct.
As long as you meet the requirements.
Just to be a judge.
To be a judge.
6 years practicing law.
6 years. I guess that's it.
Yeah,
6 years of practicing law. With a license.
Sure. Well, I can't pass this one up. I mean, I never get, and I know you're not a Muni Court judge anymore, but you were, and so I just can't pass this up, Judge, because municipal court judges tell really good stories. Okay.
Yes.
So here it comes. So you're not the first one that got this, so don't feel bad. Okay. As a municipal court judge, can you tell our viewers about your most unusual case?
Well, I've had a number of them. But the one that comes to mind is when I had a case come in with a rather elderly couple, and there was an allegation that the husband had gotten angry at his wife, and he got so angry that he plastered nude photos of her on windshield wipers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, at her employment, so that all of her co-employees got a picture of her you know, in a very compromised picture.
I could say.
And so this gentleman was arrested, and the counsel, the prosecutor and counsel were there in front of me arguing, and all of a sudden, after we talked about whether or not he should, what bond he should have and whether he should get out, the subject turned to false teeth. And at first I thought,
false teeth?
I thought, am I hearing this correctly? And there were arguments being made about the false teeth. What is this about? And the prosecutor, he has her false teeth. He's holding her teeth hostage. And I, what? He's holding her teeth hostage? And so the defense attorneys, no, he says he doesn't have them. And of course, the gentleman was in the box being guarded by the police officer, and in the jury box, and then he spoke up and, I don't have them. And so there I found myself, you know, in a rather stern voice talking to counsel. If I don't see those teeth in my chambers tomorrow, first thing in the morning, he's going to be sitting there. Okay, do you understand that? And I know you're probably familiar with some of the funnier law shows, Ally McBeal,
Boston Legal all over here,
and
Judge.
I thought, as I was saying this, I thought, I can't believe I'm talking about false teeth.
And you wanted them false teeth in your chamber or else.
And I will tell you, the next day, the false teeth arrived in my chambers.
Oh boy,
they miraculously appeared.
Well, Judge, I think, you know, the show will go on, as they always say in show business, and I hope to have other judges, and I will probably continue to ask it, but I got to tell you right now, you're holding the award on this one.
Oh, well.
The false teeth, that's, I don't believe Boston Legal could have made that up.
No, it would be a good segment. It would be funny.
Yeah, it would be. Wow. Okay. Well, again, never a dull moment.
Never
actually, in
moment.
either of your jobs, appellant. I mean, sometimes I think people would maybe pick up on the idea that appellate judge is sort of a boring position, but
no.
not for the things that you find yourself wading into day in, day out.
Yeah, no, it's really not. But you know, the emphasis is so different because, as you say, there is a lot of reading, and in some ways you are supposed to contemplate the law. You are supposed to be very deliberate about what you are deciding, and the impact, instead of having let's say a criminal defendant in front of you, where as a trial court judge you are immediately impacting that person's future right away with whatever decision you make.
No, he could be walking out in handcuffs.
Exactly. And with the Court of Appeals, what you're doing is impacting several million people with a decision, and knowing that whatever you decide will become the controlling precedent for at least for that 4 counties. That all the judges, all the trial court judges will have to follow whatever decision you make about whatever aspect of the law happens to be at issue. The impact is very different. The reach of what you're doing is very different. And although I felt the weight of that responsibility with the people I was immediately affecting, and I also have had the good fortune to see sometimes the good results of that, where as a judge I was working with someone who may have had an addiction and who would come back and tell me, you know, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Made a difference. You saved my life.
But you actually make a difference, and I can tell you, and I'm sure this is not going to come as a surprise, but as a practicing attorney, I know where to read each week in my green book as to what you folks did on the Court of Appeals, because that is the controlling authority that we need to look at when we get a case. I mean, you've decided there, and
what most people don't realize is that there are very few cases that get to be appealed to the Ohio Supreme Court. The Ohio Supreme Court does not have to take the appeal from any case, well, with some exceptions, but generally speaking, they don't. And so when we decide a case, that's truly the court of last resort for most people who are coming before a court.
But do you have to take, does the Court of Appeals pretty much have to take anything that's appealed within a timely manner? So I mean, if you want to appeal your decision,
You have an absolute right to do so.
You're absolutely right there. Okay.
And they call that an appeal as of right. You have an appeal. You have one appeal as of right. But beyond that, it's unlikely that your appeal will go further because there are so few that are taken on a discretionary basis from the Ohio Supreme Court. The Ohio Supreme Court is looking for a question of great public importance.
Great.
They want to see that whatever your particular issue is, it's really going to impact others, and that's why it's worthy of being considered by the court. If they don't feel that way about it, then they won't take the case.
There's just been some discussion recently in Ohio judges being permitted to serve until age 75. I think it's 70 now, correct?
Right, correct.
Do you have an opinion on that?
And just so you know, 70 in terms of being able to run for office. If you were elected at age 69, you are permitted to actually serve the remainder of your term. So you would actually be serving beyond 70 years old.
So it would be possible then for a judge to be 76 years old.
Yes, already that's the case.
But this would suggest that the bar then would be set at 75, meaning that somebody could be elected at 75 and go to 81.
That's right. That's right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel that it's a good idea. I look at the judges in the federal bench,
they serve for life.
Who are serving life and who are certainly into their 70s are quite capable, and often, you know, it's at that age that I think you have such wisdom. I mean, you have grown so much.
With age does come wisdom, we hope.
We hope, right?
Sometimes our teenage children don't see it that way, but yeah.
Right. So, you know, I think that why lose the benefit of that rich experience, the wisdom? And if you look at the U.S. Supreme Court, it's pretty much a given that many of the justices are serving at least into their 80s, if not beyond that, and really serving quite ably. So I think you know, society, I think we're living longer.
We are.
And I can't recall when that age limit was set, but it seems as though we may be due for an update. It was a while back. And so I think given the fact people are living longer, it seems as though that would be a good idea.
Okay.
For the judiciary.
Judge, we could probably go on for a long time, but I can see the clock is catching up with me, so of course I'd want to thank you for being our guest at Law Talk. We'd love to have you back.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And just sit here and chat with you. Maybe next time we'll see you. Maybe you'll even have a little more expanded resume. I don't know. But, we're always real pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
For our viewers, if you'd like to see this episode of Law Talk again on the internet, go to www.czclep.org. I am John Celebrezze, and I thank you for tuning in to Law Talk.
To keep up on Medina County and other legal issues, go to www.czcourtreporter.com, a function of the Celebrezze-Zangi Community Legal Education Project. At CZ-CLEP, we're devoted to the education of today's legal issues. Fueled by the public's keen interest in our legal system and current events, CZ-CLEP is dedicated to the educational venues aimed at enhancing the understanding by all citizens. For a complete listing of dates and times for this telecast, tune in to WCTV Channel 15 or log on to wadsworthcity.com and follow the links to WCTV.
I'm John Celebrezze. Please join me in getting a better understanding of the law.